Hello everyone, I wanted to do a reading on the arrest of David, D4vd or VID, in the connection to the exing of Celeste, who was a 14-year-old. I did do a reading on this, I think it was in the mixed bag, but I want to see what the cards say. I didn't channel fully on it. So he's been arrested for that, and I presume that this week they should hold like some kind of information if they've got maybe a press conference. I do feel that they've got pressure to really nail this case, so not go on a whimsical of like, okay, if only one is involved then we're just gonna get, sorry, if there's more than one we'll just nail it on David. No, I think they're going to try and get everyone involved, not just to close it by nailing it on anyone they can nail it on, especially David. So, because I feel like there's someone else, and with this case, I've always felt like there was ritual play. Obviously, the disposing was done in an intentional way, but was the actual... what happened, was it Homer side intentionally, or was it more like a man exing slaughter? So that's what I probably need to channel into. I'm going to pull the cards, see what they say, and also see what we can get on the case. All I saw was that he'd been arrested, so I don't know if anything else has come out. I will do also a update on some predictions. Now, I had two comments. I saw, well, this one wasn't a comment. I had something I've seen on my YouTube, something about a girl, a lady. She's dark skinned, she's black, Ashley, and I think a few people, I don't know, it's coming in the news, but I don't think it's hitting big. And then I had a comment, this wasn't a comment, so I don't know if you guys are following the Ashley case. And then I had a comment, what do I think of Peter S and what's happening? And I have no idea who Peter S is, and I can't find where that comment is. So I think it was on an older video. So if any of you know what can be bubbling around whoever Peter S is, I presume it's in the US. And if you would be interested in that read, I can do a read on it, but only if like it's of interest. So if I don't get enough, then there's no need to pull cards. So the first thing I want to do is, I know that David was, I think he's 21 now, and Celeste was 14, and I think they were saying they got to know each other when she was 11 or 12 and he was around 18, and that she was last seen, it's not exactly said, I don't think, but I think they indicate that she was last with him because she was reported missing for ages. Her family didn't know. Don't get me on her family, because that one is that they're the things that pissed me off. Sorry about that, but yeah, because you know, if we go back to when no information was out, I did do a channel in on this because the family did irritate me as well. Where was I going? So I think, you know, now it's probably good. And then it was, what was it, 6 or 8 months later, it was the following year, I think, that they had, it was 2025 anyway, that they found her body dismembered in the Tesla of David, right? So firstly, that's the intro into this. And I think I mean, I would, because I am getting the energy they want to nail this, I think with all the public and that he's quite famous, that they will want to hold a press conference. Okay, so it's been a long time coming, hasn't it? So I do think that we're going to hear some more news this week. at the beginning. I don't know when you're going to see this. I'll try and get it uploaded at the beginning of the week. Sunday night, Monday, something like that. Let's see. So, okay, let's see. What you doing? Huh? Not really sure what the dog wants. Hang on again, sorry. 1 second. Okay, so we've got the Queen of Cups in reverse here. This tells me emotions were running rampant. Okay, we've got the Sun here, and I don't know why I'm seeing the Sun as in the end of someone's life force. Okay, and we've got the Five of Cups. All right, we've got someone. We've got the loss card. We've got financial implication. This to me is just someone a bit distraught, stuck. And then we've got the Fool as in the new beginning. I was going to come back to this because there's something about it that talks to me. Now, she's too old to be Celeste. And I wonder if there was a female that is a bit emotionally out of control. A bit, not quite psycho, but that's in the background. And then if I look at the bottom of the deck, the Ten of Swords, right? So, and we've got the Lovers. So, yeah, it is his hands, but I think this is someone else. Now, was this intentional? I'd have to channel in a bit further and ask a clearer card. What I wanted to say about ritualism, by the way, is that, told to look at the bottom of the deck, the Lovers. So there's an element of this that was accidental in terms of her ending. But I think we're going to find out that not just the dismembering part. How can they find that out? I don't know. But I see that there might have been some really disgusting, not just like straight through dismembering, like there's other markings. What I wanted to say about the ritualistic is that I get that very strongly here. And this is not only that it was him, but I feel like there was kind of this fantasy around it, like mixing red. I don't know if you're allowed to say blood. And even though I've just said it. Do you remember Angelina Jolie and Bobby, is it Thornton or Bob Thornton? They came into the news for doing something. I think they kept a blood locket around their neck of each other's blood or something. That kind of stuff, you know, like, you know, the love that's just nothing will part us, etc. That's what I get with these two. And obviously she was very young, but I just added that in because I'm totally looking at the cards. So for me, this is saying there is an accidental element to it, but it's definitely, he's definitely involved. I also think that someone else that's kind of masked involved, and there could be this female in the background that's a bit erratic that caused emotional imbalance as well. Like I said, I see the life force ending here. So I just want to confirm one last thing. I want any major arcana in reverse again. So I'm asking, was it intentional homicide? And disclaimer, this for entertainment purposes only. Again, there's an element of it that is I think they were doing something a bit dangerous, and it could be playing with the ritualistic or those kind of things, and something goes a bit awry, right? And then it turns into what it turns into, and then it turns into the intentional. So I want to pull cards on him as a person, his vibe. I don't know, if you were the family of this kid, would you be able to live with yourself? Some people are going to be like, why? They didn't do it. Yeah, but you're not getting the point. I'm told to take this as well, whatever it is. 9 of Swords. 10 of Pentacles. 4 of Swords. And bottom of the neck, Knight of Pentacles. You know, this is really weird. So this guy, I want to say, kind of delivers a fantasy, okay? Like a night fantasy. Very romantic, very stable at certain times. But then doesn't always deliver. Although, and I feel he's very haunted when he wants to sleep or lay down to rest. He is very haunted by certain things, you know, anxiety, etc. And I won't be surprised if they mention he has stuff to make him sleep or something like that. But it seems like he is a very romantic, but at the same time there's an element that doesn't quite deliver. It's kind of like he delivers this fantasy, but then it's not exactly how it is. Now I want to be careful with that, because I think as well that he did look after her, like she was it's kind of like once I do this tour, we're gonna I know he had a mansion, but I'm giving an example. We're gonna have this mansion together, etc, etc, and it doesn't quite deliver. It's kind of like a fantasy, but it's not actually there tangible. That's what I get with this guy. But yet he can be very romantic, soft, and he can be quite grounded. I'd be so interested to see what type, and really he did focus on her. He did really make it seem like she was the, you know, she was the only one. It wasn't like I'm a pop star, I'm dating other girls and just having her on the side. And it was kind of like they were kind of moving forward. There's that Queen of Wands. Oh no, it was a Queen of Cups, wasn't it? We've got the Queen of Wands here, and I wonder if it's that woman actually there that causes the Tower moment as well. But that could be the mother, you know. It's kind of like he would drop her off, he'd pick her up and stuff like that. But there is something that was a tower, and look again, we get the sharp blunted object here. for me, this really tells me that he sells a vibe. And, you know, when you're that young as well, you can't help but go into that kind of stuff, right? Even that he's a pop star, he's giving her the attention, he's feeding her, she's living this, which she doesn't have at home. And I also felt she's quite a strong character for a 14-year-old. She's quite, you know, rambunctious and rough. She wasn't like passive that she wouldn't speak. She will speak, but there is money power dynamics here, that is for sure. And I don't mean like he bought her with money, but he was willing to, you know, he was looking after her. Like, I don't think she had financial help from her family while she'd run away, which makes sense in a way. But even if she contacted her family in between running away, I don't think like they sent her money or anything like that. I think it was actually him. That's what I do get. And she's quite a strong character. I wonder if there was times of, I really get that he didn't really want her to speak up about the relationship, probably because of the underage, but she was not really understanding the consequences because her family wasn't really seeing it that way. So there's an injustice that happens, and there's some hidden stuff. There's the King of Swords there and the Ten of Cups. And we've got the Queen of Wands here. I definitely think there's another male involved, and there is a female that's just like a bit of an energy somewhere. But there's definitely another male involved, and I wonder if this male is like part of his work group or his traveling group or his friends. I don't think he was happy when she disclosed, you know, kind of like the hidden element of their relationship. Maybe she put it out in social media or something, or she mentioned something, and I don't think he wanted that. He also didn't quite like maybe she recorded her at his home or them at the home, and this reminds me of her actually, because I think I've seen her with a hoodie. And again, the Queen of Wands, like I said, not frightened to speak up, the swords. And there's the ending card. I feel like he did warn her that this could have a very bad ending. And then we've got the Fear, the Queen of Swords, the Hierophant as well. Very much like you've got to play the game and temper what you're actually doing, because things can go awry. He did have, you know, with all these blunt things, I definitely think there's a lot of mind-boggling things, which could be like trying to isolate her a little bit to stop her from being such a Queen of Wands energy. And there could be, I do think that there was some act of aggression, but I don't think she was abused with him, if that makes sense. I think as long as everything was under control, they were doing those things that I mentioned, like the ritualistic. Who could the second person be? I do think that they've got their eyes on a couple of people, another person, and I think they're going to play the game to put pinpoint fingers against each other. So do law enforcement think that there's more than David involved? Show me clearly, please. So can you remember how I said they really want to get this this thing, the case for her, the justice for her, to a T? They don't want to miss anything. I don't know if they've got pressure because of the publicity, etc., but there's something behind it that tells me they are not going to be flimsy on this case, and they really want to make sure they tie up every single thing. The Hanged Man in reverse is telling me they're not sleeping on any little thing that they can get either. And I forgot my question. I think it was, do they think that there's more than one person involved? There is, and the person is not as well off as David. That's what I get. This other person's kind of strange. It's kind of like they're a recluser energy than David or something like that. But they want to nail them both. They want to nail every single person that's involved in this. So I feel like they have a strategy to bring the justice without stalling further, and possibly manipulating it where, you know, they get each of them to point fingers, no plea deals or anything like that, so that then they can catch them both out. And whether it's that they nail David first and the secondary they get him in for something else and then they happen to nail him, or they try to wait for each of them to sell each other out. So I think, is he gonna plead not guilty? I think he is not going to plead guilty. You know, he's not going to, I don't think he's going to plead guilty. Six of Swords in reverse. Okay. He's not swimming with the current. And the Strength card. Tower in reverse. He's not waiting to see if they're going to offer a plea. He's gonna say he's not guilty right away. Okay, so that's what I think we're going to get there. What else? I don't know why I get there's a financial motive behind whatever happened in this case, which is really weird because he's got the money. It's not like she's got the money so he's exed her for the money. I don't understand. I'm getting a strong financial motive, and I don't know if it's the government, law enforcement, or it's something to do with this and the other people involved. There is a financial element beyond what I've said as well. So what's the challenge in this case? Let's say there's a challenge right now for them. What is the challenge? There's a card that's fallen. Bottom of the deck, and then I've got to use another card as per Spirit. Knight of Wands. So firstly, I think there's a challenge of her past, you know, her past as in her childhood. And also there's a challenge of what is not hidden, but it's kind of like a lot of people have got like that gut feeling, like there, or you can say here circumstantial evidence, right? But it's kind of like it can be in the wind, it can be in the, it's not as solid as seeing David open his car, put the body in. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of circumstantial evidence, and I feel with this there's something not related to the past where they're focusing on a period of time, and more to, I think there's a timeline issue. I also think we might have a digital, I think they might be waiting on something digital. What's the challenge? So we've got those as a challenge. What's the challenge? This is the other person not coming fully forward and saying everything because they're involved. Okay, so I think the autopsy is still underway, and they really need that to nail and bring to light two elements. These two elements, I think, is to do with some physical thing, and really tying all the loose threads and the two people as well, but also the time frame and the digital. I really feel like they want digital evidence here with the swords. We've got the Six of Swords of his time frame, his timeline of travel, digital access that they're not able to fully get at this moment in time. And I feel like it's probably they're not allowed to, unless maybe they arrested David or they arrested someone else. And obviously to arrest you need something. So I think they need to access certain stuff, which they will try to. And some of the evidence is really circumstantial until they get the forensic. And I feel like they're waiting on that to announce certain things. And depending on that is how they will announce or take the case forward in a certain way. So I think physical evidence, they might have some physical evidence, but it can also be manipulated where it's not like tangible recorded. And this is for a certain part of a scenario. So they're hoping on the autopsy to bring that to light so that they can follow two scenarios of a specific part of what happened in this case. And at the moment they're kind of like they've won their ground, but it's not clear. It's that the land is not clear in terms of like a full win. They've got to be very, very careful until they get this to then choose which way they're going with this. I also think there's something about him not being home with the car at the time. So, you know, maybe he was traveling. I can't remember what we said around this. Okay, so he was traveling. So how can we judge that he did this to her? We've got to hold back and see who actually was involved, what is lining up and what isn't lining up, and what have we missed. And there is something that is not being looked at this moment in time. And we've got this Queen of Wands again, and again it's to do with the car, right? It's to do with the car, and this is that recluse guy that I feel like he might be involved in the car part, the setup. The defense really has, he couldn't have done the car. Someone else has moved the car, pointing to the recluse. He was traveling, or he wasn't around, and he wasn't even with her to do that. And the car is another situation. So I think, you know, the defense are going to be like, this is fake alibi, fake timeline. How can you say it's him? And the car, they might even say the car was a setup. So let's just ask quickly. And then I want to pull some crime cards, and these can be taken very lightly. That's why I'm doing them at the end. Will we see justice in the case? Wow. Again, financial element here. What the hell is that? We will see justice in the case. We've got the Sun card here. Okay. It does need a bit more work. And it's going to need a lot of work on the trial. Okay. But eventually it will be successful. And it looks like it's going to cost a bit of money. There's something around this. There's a lot of money aspects for some reason. I don't know how, beyond what I've said, but there is. Very interesting. So there is going to be a win in this. there's going to be justice in terms of for her family. There's something that's just not lining up here for me to confirm something. I think it's because there's a wavering on waiting on some final elements, but then I get my card that I've asked for, and it's probably as I've said that. So it seems like the energy is wavering depending on, I think, the aspects that I said that could be a challenge. And also if they're going to get if they're going to be able to really translate the motive, which seems like they're not really able to at the moment, because I don't know why I'm going back to financial again. They can't say something like it was for insurance or financial reason. So let me pull some crime cards and see what we get on this. There's that blunt force trauma. That's where I said probably some isolation. What happened to her? You can read the writing, okay? Three cards for the next one, please, Spirit. Yeah, so man-made disaster was caused by man, okay? Missing, which she was, and it was reported missing, but she wasn't actually missing. And then this imprisonment is like what happened to her. Like, she was obviously in the boot of the car and this was done to her, right? And look, the sharp object. But when she was missing, she wasn't actually trapped. It was her choice to run away and go and stay there. But then what happened to her was caused by man. That's a confirmation. Tell us about David. Dating. Caregiver, what I said, grandparent. You cannot, the cards really line up with what I said. You know, he was looking after her, grandparent, caregiver, dating. So I think that's saying about the age difference, that he was looking after her, they were dating. Okay, so I'm glad the cards didn't go like too wild, wacky, and they totally said, obviously it's man-made. Okay, so that's what I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, let me know in the comments if you wish to. And that's all from me for today, or for this video. Bye for now.